It's 2 a.m. right now, and you've been studying for the past 2-3 hours straight. You're so focused that you don't even realize that you missed the past 2 or 3 breaks. The little study breaks that you were supposed to have, you missed them completely. You take a quick glimpse at the table clock that is sitting right in front of you, and you smile because you realize the fact that a couple of months back you would not be studying for these many hours straight. You take a moment to embrace that feeling, to celebrate that achievement, and then you get back to studying. And before you know it, it's 6 a.m. You've been studying all this time, taking breaks, doing everything perfectly, being productive, and you've actually completed your goal for that particular day. It's 6 a.m., so you have to go back to sleep. Your competition, your friends, they've just woken up and they're making their first study timetable that they think they're going to follow for the next couple of months. But you know that's bullshit. You know that's never going to happen. You know they're going to revise that timetable 20 times and they're going to fuck up 50 times and they're not going to be able to follow that at all. You're already done with like a quarter of the entire syllabus. But that doesn't happen all the time, does it? Is that how you're really studying right now? Is that how you're utilizing your time right now? Probably not. Your study sessions probably include a lot of scrolling on Instagram and replying to your friends' messages or checking notifications on your phone, taking a cute little picture of your notes late at night and posting it on Instagram story so everybody knows that you're studying late at night. You're wasting your time. I can help you eliminate all distractions from your surroundings, mental and physical, so you can make the most out of your studying session. Let me explain. If you're not studying for hours straight, uninterrupted and undisturbed, that means you're not really producing anything of value. You're not really studying at all. You're relying on short-term memory, and you're relying that the guy that is going to sit in front of you in the exam hall is going to know the answers. You're relying on variables that are not in your control. Very much not advised. I don't really blame you for this. This is not really your fault. The education system has failed you completely. The education system is flawed because they didn't really bother to change the education system after the British left. But what the fuck are we gonna do about that? So, anyways, I want you to understand that the way you're studying right now is absolutely not advised and it's really not optimal. And if you're still getting average to above average marks while studying that way, that means you have immense potential. And if you study the correct way, the way that I'm going to be telling you to study, you're going to score way more marks than that. You know, I used to be like you. I didn't really care for studying. I didn't really care to actually learn how I'm supposed to learn things, how I'm supposed to study, how I'm supposed to actually educate myself and gain knowledge the way you're actually meant to. Not the way education system wants you to, but the way actually human brains consumes knowledge. I never really bothered to learn what that is. And so I scored 55 to 60% marks max. That was my best. If I ever get like near 70%, that would be like a really good exam. Eventually, I started to acknowledge the value of focus. I started to learn how I'm actually supposed to study, I'm supposed to learn. This is when my 10th board exams were. I wanted to score good marks. I wanted to prove to myself and the world that I can actually accomplish something if I put my heart into it. And so I did everything that I'm going to tell you in this video and I scored 80% marks. Might not sound very impressive. If you're already getting above average marks, if you're getting like 70 plus marks, then I'm sure you can do better than 80%. And I'm sure you weren't as pathetic as I am studying, because every single parent in this world pressurize their kids to study. My parents never did that. That's why I never really found value in studying, and I still don't, by the way. I have very strong opinions about studying, but I think that 10th class board exams are an achievement that every single kid is supposed to go through. It's like a canon event. You know, Spider-Man, in the Spider-Man movie, there is a mention of canon event. I think 10th class board exams are a canon event for every single man. And this is the first time you're ever going to achieve something. But I also want to manage your expectations right now. These are a set of habits that you're going to have to build. These are new studying habits. Habit building takes time. Okay, don't expect this to happen overnight. Don't expect overnight changes. At least get into this protocol that I'm going to tell you about for at least 100 days. And if that sounds absurd to you, if you've never done anything for 100 days, I'm making this video way before your actual board exams are going to happen. So hopefully you find this video and find value in it, so you start working for at least 30 to 60 days. Summer vacations are coming. Hopefully you can work towards this protocol and hopefully you can get some value out of this. If all this sounds interesting, let's get into it. So shallow work, right? The reason why you can't produce much, meaning the reason why you can't retain much information, why your notes suck ass, is because you're doing what I call shallow studying. It's when you do interrupted memorization or interrupted studying. So, and most of the times you're using rote memorization. So you're not really studying effectively at all. You're doing actually the opposite of what you're supposed to do while studying. This will produce some results. Obviously, it's a mode of memorization. It's not ideal, but it's a mode of memorization. So it does give good enough results. But that's not what we're after, right? We want exceptional results. Tell me if this sounds relatable, okay? So you sit down to study, right? So you're on your table. It's completely clean. Nothing's on the table other than fuck off, right? So there's nothing else on the table. It's just your books, and you have your phone sitting right next to you. So if you want to search something, you want to look some word up, you have it ready, but you have it upside down, right? So you don't get distracted by notifications. You put it on silent as well. So you're doing good. But after about 15 minutes of trying to study, you haven't really studied anything. 15 minutes of looking at a book, you get bored and you unconsciously reach for the phone, pick it up. You unconsciously click on Instagram. The first thing you do is click on Instagram and you see that one of your friends is online. So you click on their profile and they have sent you a reel. You start watching that reel. You like that reel. You start talking to your friend. You start scrolling on Instagram. You send them a reel, and before you know it, you've wasted 30 minutes of your time. You spend 15 minutes trying to get yourself to study, and you spend 30 minutes scrolling on Instagram, wasting your time. This is what I call shallow work. Shallow studying is for losers. Shallow studying or shallow work is when you get distracted by very small things. It's when you unconsciously want to get distracted, right? So you'll want to go to the bathroom very often. You'll hear things that you normally wouldn't hear. Like a car passing from meters outside of your house will distract you. You'll hear your parents call you, and then you go outside and they actually haven't really called you. You're just hearing things. This is when your brain doesn't want to get focused. This is when you're not really, you haven't really trained your brain to get into a state of focus and be focused at a particular task without getting distracted. This is called shallow work. It's never going to produce the results that you want. If I had done shallow studying, even if I had done it for hours straight, the same hours that I did deep work or deep studying, I would not have gotten the results, not even close to what I've gotten. 80% for me is a big jump from 55 to 60%. For you, it might not be, but for me, it was amazing. I'm very grateful for everything that I did. If I had done shallow work instead of deep work, the only difference in my entire studying phase, I would not have gotten anywhere near 80%. I can help you make that switch as well for yourself. I can help you convert yourself from doing shallow work every single day to doing deep work that's actually going to produce. And the best part is, you don't have to do deep work for a long time. Like, you have to shallow study for a long period of time, right? Because it's interrupted. You're distracted in that. You're really actually studying for like 10-15 minutes maybe, but you have to sit down for like 3 hours. In deep work, you really only have to sit down for 1 hour, and that's 1 hour of pure studying. I can help you make that switch. let's get into it. Alright, so this is what I call distraction proofing. And you don't really need to distraction proof your entire room, but here's a list of everything that I think will give you the best effort to benefit ratio. First is study on a table, not your bed. If you study on a bed, there's only two things that's going to happen. One, either you'll be sleepy while you study, or you'll never be able to sleep on that bed ever again. Right? Because you're building the wrong habits. You're telling your brain that when I sit down on the bed, it's either I have to study, or when you're trying to study, your brain will go, I'm on the bed, I'm supposed to sleep. So you'll get sleepy. Train your brain to do the right things on the right places, right? So reserve a table just for studying. Only study on that table, do nothing else, right? Not eating, not entertainment, nothing. Number 2 is keep that table clean. You don't need every single thing on that table, right? In my opinion, you don't even need every single book that you're studying. Just keep the one book that you're focused on or you're working on, and keep a notebook or a pencil or paper, something like that, right? So a table clock, your books and pens, a water bottle is all that you're ever going to need on that table. If you need anything else, just walk out and get that. And keep it away from the table. Your table represents your mind. The more organized it is, the cleaner and more organized your thoughts and your brain is going to be. So keep your table how you want to keep your brain. That's number 2. Number 3 is do not keep your phone on ringer, and do not keep it in the same room as you're studying. Do not keep your laptop there either, unless you have to study from YouTube, in which case you should only use it for that particular video and then turn it off. Number 4 is study when everyone is asleep, either early morning or late at night. I found it easier late at night, but it has its own cons, so decide for yourself. I'll give you a quick list of pros and cons. If you study early in the morning, your parents won't be against that. If you study late at night, your parents might be against that. They might impose some restrictions on you. And if you study early in the morning, they're going to praise you for that. They're going to be happy that you're studying early in the morning. That's considered a good thing. But the only problem is that you don't have unlimited time when you're studying in the morning. When you're studying in the morning, eventually your family is going to wake up. But when you're studying at night, you can be sure that your family is not going to be waking up for the next 8 to 10 hours. You have the next 8 to 10 hours undisturbed. And obviously there's cons. If your parents are obviously going to be against studying at night, and there's only also another problem that you have to fix your sleep schedule. If you're studying late at night, then when the boards are nearby, you have to completely switch, and you have to make that switch very quick, because then you're going to be sleepy in the examination hall basically. So my advice is decide for yourself, see what works best for you. But if you're going to be studying late at night, then make sure that you're fixing your sleep schedule at least a few weeks before you actually go and give your boards, right? Lastly, last 2 points is do not eat too much food before or while studying. Too much carbs will make you sleepy. If you're eating protein, if you're eating slow digesting fats, healthy fats, that's going to be fine. That's not going to make you very lethargic. But if you're eating too much carbs, be mindful that it's going to make you sleepy. Last point is keep dim lights in the room. So the rest of your room, other than your study table, should be poorly lit. So you're not able to focus on the rest of the room very much, right? That's what I did. I had like a spotlight kind of a chandelier pointed directly to the table that I was studying on, and the rest of the room was like almost dark. So all I could do it literally did the spotlight effect. So all I could do was focus on the book that is right in front of me, or the table, everything that's on the table. Right. So here is what your actual practical study session is going to look like actually, right? So in this video, I'm only going to tell you how to eliminate the distractions. I'm not going to be diving into the actual memorization process or the methods of memorization. If you want another video on that, please let me know in the comments. But here is what your actual study session is going to look like, right? So you sit down on your table to study, right? You get your book, just the one book that you're going to be studying in this particular study session. You get a notebook for making notes or highlighting something that you think is really important that you're going to have to remember later on. You get a pen or a pencil, whatever. you switch off your phone and you put it somewhere where you can't reach it. Maybe in your parents' room, where they are asleep. So you're studying when everybody's asleep, right? And you sit down to study, and after about 25 minutes, this is when you're going to need your first break. And we all know, and let's not bullshit ourselves, we all know that it takes about 30 minutes or maybe more for you to get into the zone of study. So this is before 30 minutes, you're not really producing anything, you're not really doing anything, you're just telling your brain that, okay, we are actually doing this. We have to do this, and there's no way you're going to distract me, and there are no distractions in my surroundings, right? Because there's nothing on the table, the room is poorly lit, the chandelier is pointing, or the dim lights are pointing directly on the notebook, so that is all that I can focus on right now. We are studying, this is what we are doing. You're telling your brain that for the first 30 minutes, and after that, it allows you to actually focus and study. So realistically, 55 minutes into your study sessions, you are going to take your first break. And you don't need to repeat this every single time after a break. Like, it takes you 30 minutes to get into the state of focus for the first study session. And then you take a break, and in the second study session, you can take after 25 minutes. So you don't have to refocus yourself. It doesn't work that way. Once you're focused, once you're in the zone, unless you get out of that zone, you don't need to refocus, right? Cool, we're on the same page. So after 25 minutes, realistically 55 minutes, you have to take your first break, which is going to be 5 to 10 minutes, anywhere between that. And in this period, you can do plenty of things, right? You can either exercise, you can do a couple of push-ups. Probably you're not going to do that. You can either take a quick nap, you can listen to some light music that doesn't have a lot of lyrics, that doesn't distract you a lot. So you basically shouldn't be thinking about the song that you're listening to while you're studying in the next session, right? It should be that kind of music. You can meditate, or the best thing that I recommend you do is you can visualize yourself actually achieving the goal that is the reason why you're studying. So maybe getting the percentage that you're thinking about getting, how your parents are going to react when they see your result, how you are going to react, how your friends are going to be surprised that you suddenly got so much marks. Imagine, visualize all that. This is going to motivate you to further focus on the next study session. So you're really refilling your motivation after every study session. This is exactly what I did, and that's exactly what it did for me. It refilled me, it boosted me with motivation to study for the next study session. And I just kept repeating that cycle for as many times as I can. And in my opinion, you can keep doing this for an infinite amount of time, unless you get like sleepy or something. In which case, you should take like a small nap, like a 45 minutes to 1 hour nap. Realistically, your sleep cycle lasts about 90 minutes. So you should take a nap for about 90 minutes, because if you cut your nap in half, or you wake up between 90 minutes, you're going to be sleepy for the next couple of hours. You won't be able to sleep, or you won't be able to study properly. So whenever you're taking naps, make sure that it's at least 90 minutes long. Another very important point is that your goal should not be that you keep studying, you keep repeating the cycle, 25 minutes of studying and then 5 minute break, 25 minutes of studying and then 5 minutes break. This is in my opinion for children. Your goal should be to extend the amount of time you can study without a break. That means you're extending the time limit for your attention or your focus. You're making sure that you can be focused for a long time. 25 minutes is still kind of shallow work, because you're not spending long hours. If you can go hours without a break and in a focused state where you're not thinking about anything else, when you're not distracted about anything else, that's when you've achieved deep work. That's when you're going to produce the best outcome. I, at this point in my life, can work for 2 to 3 hours undisturbed, uninterrupted, without a break, and it doesn't really bother me at all. Like, I look at the table clock that's right in front of me. I have a table clock in front of me. I look at it after a couple of hours and I realize that it's been a couple of hours. I should take a break at this point, because my productivity would start to dip at this point. Like, I have to remind myself for a break. That is the point that you have to reach. That is the goal that you should have. This is how you can eliminate your distractions. Right now in my room, there's plenty of things that can distract me, right? There's a open window right in front of me. I am looking right outside every few seconds. I can be distracted by a bird. I can be distracted by someone standing in the balcony. I can be distracted with anything else in the room. A couple of minutes ago, my alarm rang and I was still focused on making this video. That is being in the flow state. Being in the flow state is so beautiful because there is nothing going on in your brain or for you other than the one thing that you're focused on. Nothing else exists. So when you're going to be studying and you're going to be studying for hours straight, nothing else is going to exist for you. You won't realize how quick a couple of hours can pass when you're in the flow state. Time doesn't exist in the flow state. All that matters to you is to get the task in front of you done, and to get it done with the most efficient way possible. That is the flow state. So please do not do anything that breaks that flow state, that breaks your focus, that ruins your attention span. That is whenever you get into a flow state, whenever you're in the focus state and you distract yourself even a little bit by looking at a notification, by checking your phone, even if you take like a quick look, it's going to affect your focus. It's going to affect your flow state. It's going to take you another 45 minutes to get back into the flow state. And you don't want to do that. That's why you have to eliminate the most prominent reason for your lack of focus and for getting you out of the focus state, which is your phone. That's why I recommend you put it outside somewhere where you cannot reach it for the entire night or the entire morning whenever you're studying. That is all I have for this video. I hope that it really helped you. So I'm building a community of high value men or men who want to become high value. I post self-improvement videos every single week, every Monday and Thursday. And if this video helped you, subscribe to my channel so my videos show up on your home feed more often and so I can provide you value in your self-improvement journey. I'll see you in the next video.